Don't place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Hey traders, this is John Hal here. I'm going to be talking to you about the bigger picture and what's been happening right now on the Dow Jones and the indices as well too, and becoming silver and gold as well too. So what's been going on through there? A bit of a service announcement, or a bit of an announcement, guys, for you guys that are members to the Master Trader Lab. I've just added 8 amazing, powerful mindset videos from my personal coach, helping you understand what is the mindset and what's going to help you get ahead in the markets long term. So if you guys are members of the Master Trader Lab, go over there right now. If you're not a member, you can get a free trial at mastertraderlab.com, mastertraderlab.com. Now, let's get straight into today's video. Now, yesterday I talked about how if we look at this daily chart here, right, it looks like we're forming some sort of shoulder, head, possibly a right shoulder as well too, where we are right now. If I do this, here we go, and we have maybe a shoulder, head, this is possibly shoulder, and if we start to break this level, it looks like we could start to see a run back down towards these levels through here. Makes sense? Now, I was saying yesterday that on the Dow Jones that if we start to rally down through here, that could be the start of a bear market or start of the market crashing. Actually, the start of a correction in the markets. So, and let me explain what I mean by that. Let me see if I can go back to, say, maybe a 7-day view. And I want to go back to 2008. I want to share with you what I mean by that. Because if we go back, say, to 2008, as you can see here, right, what actually, remember, an entire crash. This is one thing that's really important to understand. An entire crash, right? This started at the end. This actually pretty much in the middle, right? In the middle of 2007 was the peak. In almost the middle of mid to the early 2009 was the bottom. So as you can see, right, this is pretty much going on maybe 2 years or more in the market. So when the market crashes, or we go through a recession, or we go through a bear market, remember 2008 was what? The greatest financial collapse in the world, blah, 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 all this sort of stuff, right? But look at on the chart here, what was actually happening? What was happening? We came down, we made a low. That was a clear lower low than that. We ran up, made a lower high, lower low, lower high, and we started to what? Break down. So that's what's going. And this, we have this low through here, right? So when the market starts to break down and create this low and rally back up, that's when we can start to see the market going down. So don't freak out and don't be trying to pick the top. Think we're going to see a 20% down day in one day, okay? Because it's just not going to happen. Not in this environment. So why I'm saying that is that, as you can see, right, so if we start to see a movement down from here and we start to get some sort of lower low through here on the Dow Jones, on that, let's go back to the weekly chart now on the Dow Jones, right? If we start to get that lower low, as you can see, right, that could be the start of what? Of a movement up, lower high, movement down. And once again, a crash, a recession, if we're going to see a 50 to 60, maybe 70% pullback in the overall Dow Jones indices, and possibly a lot more in the stocks, then that's going to take anywhere from 12 months to 2 years to finally and complete that whole correction. All right. So don't be trying to get into the markets right now. So many people right now getting in thinking over the next 2 months, we're going to see a 20% correction and they're going to make a fortune. I've been there. I've done that. I've lost my shirt every single time. Please don't do that. All right. Now, moving on now to silver and gold. Pretty much silver and gold, pretty much doing nothing, right? Still on a meh, right? Meh in the markets. We're still not getting any breakout here. And silver, that was gold. This is silver. Silver's just still on a downward momentum, right? And we're not at the capitulation. We're not at the capitulation yet in the markets in silver and gold. I don't think yet. The reason why I'm saying that is because there hasn't been any. When there's blood in the streets, that's when you want to start to go long, right? And I'll give you an example. I'll give you a quick story that I've been reading the Market Wizards books, conversations with American top traders, and one thing that I was reading, and it just brought home so much that this guy was saying that typically whenever you see major headlines in the news or on the front page of newspapers or magazines, guess what? That's pretty much the top or the bottom, depending on what they're saying. So for example, I'll give you an example, a real example of this. A couple of years ago, I started seeing signs. I started seeing everyone talk about talk about the Sydney property market, right, and how good it is, and then suddenly on the news we started seeing how things are going crazy, and we've got to see 20% correct, 20%. And me and my girlfriend at the time were actually looking at property, and I said, no, I'm not getting involved with this because this is the top. And she's like, you don't understand, we're going to miss out. It's going to keep going up. It's going to keep going up. It's going to keep going up. And my girlfriend at the time, right, she's an emotional, right? So she's like, we've got to get in because it's going to keep going up. It's going to keep going up. And I said, no, we're at the peak right now. And she says, not, look at the news and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, you've got to look behind it. Anyway, fast forward a couple of years, and the Sydney property market, if you guys know anything about the Sydney property market, we have been in a big downfall massively ever since. So look behind what the news is saying. Makes sense? I'll give you another example. For example, when Bitcoin was around 17,000, got up to about 20,000, but around 17,000, I knew we're getting pretty much to the top of it, because guess what? Everyone, including my barber, was talking about Bitcoin. My brother-in-law was talking about Bitcoin. He doesn't even know what a stock is, what a share is. He doesn't invest at all. He started talking Bitcoin. I'm just like, oh my goodness, we are at the high. We're getting very, very, very close to the peak in Bitcoin right now anyway. And that's when I started doing videos saying, do not be buying Bitcoin right now, because, and for you guys that remember, if you guys are following me back then, you guys will know what I'm saying there. So always look behind that for some major trends. So, so it's really, really, really important to that. So what I'm saying here is that I think we need to see a lot more blood in the streets in silver and gold, for people to start to panic, for those media saying, silver and gold selling off massively and all that sort of stuff. When you start to see all that sort of things happening with the CNBC and the news and all that sort of stuff, and things are selling off, you pretty much know, when you start to get those very, very, very bearish sentiments in the market, that we're pretty much close to the bottom in the market. I'll give you another example, is that, if you guys watch The Big Short, right? If you watch The Big Short, what happens at the end of that movie, right? Not only did he call the market, but it happened. Now, bear in mind, guys, if you actually think about what happened there, he noticed that in 2005. He had to go through hell for about 3 years until he made a fortune from it. But the thing is, right, in the answer machines, when Dr. Burry, Dr. Burry is checking his answer machine, guess what he's doing? One of the messages says, I can't believe you're buying stocks right now. Are you nuts? And that's what the boss is saying. But obviously he understands value and so on and so forth. So, but guess what was happening? Everyone was fleeing the streets, right? Everyone didn't want anything to do everyone didn't want to do anything to do with the stock market, right? And that was the perfect time right there, when everyone was fearful. And I gotta put my hand up for this, because I remember when the whole property market crashed in America in 2008. I'm like, man, this is pretty bad. And I had a lot of sentiments there. And one of my really wealthy mentors, he said, John, this is the time to start buying property in America. Like, this is the time. If you want to capitalize on the next 5 to 10 years of the growth that's going to happen from this, you need to start buying right now. And it was roughly around 2010, 2011, that he really, really started to push it and say, listen, this is the time to start to get in, because over the next 5 to 10 years, you're likely to start to see, you're likely to start to see a big rebound back from the property market. And I went to go in. I was talking to a friend of. I was talking to an acquaintance at the time, and me and her were going to go in a joint venture in a big, massive unit block building. I think it was like, I forget how many units there, but it was a massive unit block building. But what I was doing, right, is I was like, oh my goodness, because what was I doing? I was listening to people like Harry Dent and all that bullshit. But the thing is, right, is that I was still fearful that the market was going to keep going down. So I didn't want to invest in the American property market, and my my millionaire mentor saying, listen, we need, you need to do whatever you can now to start buying this stuff up, because over the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be a good deal, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. And so I didn't do that. And if you guys know anything about the property market, it was around about the 2012 that it picked up a little bit and then it dipped down to about 2012, and then it had a big boom, and then it had a big boom from 2012, so 2011, 2012 up to 2014, 2015, and then it's been slowly pulling back ever since from that there in the marketplace. So this is just an example, guys. What I'm trying to share with you here right now is something that I need to do more often. Is that whenever I'm reading a newspaper or whenever I'm reading something, think complete opposites in the markets, right? And when you start to see these big signs, it could be a good opportunity to make some money, So for example, if there's a lot of people still bullish in the markets, then it may be a time to start shorting it or whatever, you know what I mean? So that's for longer term stuff as well too. That's what I'm talking about there. Okay. Now, when you are trading, you want to make sure that you're sticking to a plan as well too. But there's some things to think about, guys, when you are trading the markets and when you are getting involved with things. That things are opposites. That's why when, I don't normally watch the news or read newspapers and stuff like that. But if you are going to do something like that, you're going to read the papers and go through that, what's important to do is try to look for the opposite effect. Because if everyone is doing something, then it's probably the opposite is true. I remember one of my earliest mentors, very, very wealthy mentor. He said, John, I never always know what to do at certain times, but I find what most people do, and then I do the complete opposite. And most times I get it right. So, and so that obviously goes down to what? It goes down to when they're saying, oh, the property market's amazing, property market's amazing, property market's amazing. Guess what? That's probably the peak in the markets, right? Because I've seen that so many times. So anyway, guys, leave a comment below and let me know a story of something that you maybe over the last time of your life you've seen something in the news or the newspaper and it was saying bullish or bearish, but that was the top or the bottom. Hey traders, thanks for watching my YouTube video. I've just released a brand new training. It's 100% free training, and you're going to learn my number one most powerful trading technique / chart reading technique that I use that actually helps me get up to a 90% success rate. I use it. It's a very big part of my trading system. You're going to absolutely love this. This is what I call going with the stream. So when you find big strong currents in the markets, that's what this is all about. So very first thing in the description below, guys, go click on that and you can go register, or you can go get instant access to this free training right now and start to apply this to your trading right now. So click on the very first thing in the description below and go get free access to this training and get instant access right now.